Rev up your engines!
Elon said a Cybertruck, they made the first one, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's actually not ready for production. It's some kind of prototype BS. And they're saying, here's the first one, blah, blah, blah. You can't buy them yet, right? Turns out that somebody leaked some Tesla documents. And these documents exposed that the Tesla Cybertruck has all kinds of problems with the powertrain, the braking, and the suspension system. And that's why it's delayed so long. The thing's a pile of crap. Squealer from inside Tesla to say, hey, here's the problems. Numerous other concerns related to the powertrain, suspension, structural integrity, and sealing have caused production Cybertruck prototypes to fall behind schedule. So basically, he's trying to rush into production and it's screwing up, right? He's always had production problems. I mean, let's face it, the guy is not an automotive engineer, right? He's a software dude. He thinks everything can be fixed by software. Let's see, this isn't Tron, that movie where Jeff Bridges is riding around inside the internet, right? No, this is the real world, real vehicles, right? You need people that know what they're really doing. And he's such a nut, he keeps firing people he doesn't like if they don't agree with him. And then you end up with this thing that it looks like a disaster to begin with, but now we're finding out it's got all kinds of problems, and that's why they haven't made them and sold them yet. And here's an engineer that used to work for him. Hey, exactly what I just said. My first reaction is, I'm astounded. These are classic mechanical automotive engineering challenges you have in pretty much any vehicle. I'm blown away they'd be struggling so much with basics. Well, yeah, this is an engineer because he's an engineer. He understands these things, right? Old Elon isn't an engineer. He's got his finger in the pie. He can poke too many holes in the pie now, I guess. It's normal stuff that you do when you build a car, right? But it's too much for Tesla because, hey, they got a lunatic running the asylum there. And the engineer's like, I'm really astonished. They have problems with such simple things like braking and suspension that have been out for, well over 100 years. That's one of the reasons it's not out yet, right? They're not designing them right. They're not building them right. And of course, his whole idea is that these are supposed to compete with mainstream pickup trucks. And what do people want in pickup trucks? Strong, reliable things with suspensions that can hold weight, braking systems that work correctly, right? You're playing with the big boys if you're talking about pickup trucks, right? You're not talking about making little Volkswagen Beetles or Toyota Corollas or Honda Civics, little cars, econo boxes. You're talking about pickup trucks. It's a completely different world of people who generally buy pickup trucks, right? And he certainly doesn't understand them. We'll see when it actually does come out for sale, if and whatever, if they got to have a whole bunch of problems, or I predict they'll have all kinds of problems, because, I mean, it's starting up something, right? And he's got a proven track record of making crappy vehicles that don't hold up, that have problems, right? Quality control is definitely not #1 with these guys. To me, it's just amazing that all these people, they say, well, there's almost 1 million people want to buy one of these. Yeah, let's see what happens when it comes out. Whenever it does come out, DC Innovation 30 says, I have a rattling sound after a transmission job in my car. I've got a 2016 Subaru Impreza, 94,000 miles, and the automatic transmission had to be replaced. Ever since there's a buzzing sound in the center and middle of the car when I press on the gas pedal. I'm not sure if it's normal. The things have to break in. Well, the only thing that needs breaking is probably the guy who did the job. He needs to be broken in to become a real mechanic. He obviously is not. Such a big job, taking an engine, transmission apart, putting a new transmission in, he screwed up something. There's motor mounts, there's transmission mounts, there's heat shields. That's a Subaru, so you got to get some of the exhaust system out of the way. He screwed something up. Take it back and say, this rattle wasn't here. Fix the rattle, right? And if he says, oh, I don't know, I didn't do it, go to another mechanic. And that mechanic figures out what it is, make the other guy pay for it because he screwed up. He obviously has a gigantic job. There are so many things. Maybe just simple as a heat shield. When he took the exhaust apart, maybe he didn't put the heat shield on right, and it's hitting something, and that's going to rattle, right? There are so many things that can go wrong when you pull a transmission off a car, and it didn't rattle before, but it's rattling now. He screwed up the job. I mean, take it back and say, look, this thing's rattling like mad. What did you do wrong? And any honest guy will say, well, let me look at him. I say, oh, well, this heat shield got bent. Okay, it's fixed now, right? Maybe it'll be good, but if he doesn't and refuses to, take it to another mechanic, then make him pay for it. Say, this guy said this was bent, and you did it. But give the guy a chance, I mean, I'm sure he charged you an awful lot of money putting a transmission, and he should stand behind his work. And there's so many things that can be bent or moved, or maybe he didn't bolt one of the transmission mounts on right, or maybe a transmission mount got cracked when he did the work, and instead of putting a new one on, he used the old broken one. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong. Make your head spin. JK says, I want to get a car running that's had for 3 years. My mother had a 2016 Subaru Legacy with 74,000 miles, parked since March 2020, because I was taking care of the elderly mother. I changed the battery. It started with no problem. The car is 3/8 of a tank of gas. I should get an oil change. I heard different stories about the gas. Should I siphon it out? What should I do? All right, well, you say it started up. So here's what I would do. Gasoline, it mixes really well. I would say, you said start up and ran. Drive to a gas station, fill it up with premium gas, the best gas you can buy. Then it mixes with all the old stuff. And it should be totally okay, because you said start it up otherwise. I would change the oil and filter because it said I would check pressure in the tires. And it said for what, 3 years. So I would look at the tires. And if they start to crack and dry rot, you're going to need new tires. They will sit dry rotting because you said it was out in the air, open air. It wasn't even in a garage. So the tires are probably shot. Right? And then you see chunks coming off or cracks in them. Replace all 4 tires. But other than that, I mean, it's a Subaru with low mileage, 74,000. You shouldn't really need to do all that much to it. Fill it up with gas and then see what happens. Now, if it acts up, then you'd have to change the fuel filter. You'd want a guy like me to run a fuel pressure cleaning system to clean the fuel pump, the lines, and the fuel injectors with that pressurized machines. But you might not have to do any of that. Just putting in new high-test gas and it mixes all inside, it could be totally okay. And then maybe you'd have to change the fuel filter if there was some gunk and it got gunked in the filter. But a lot of times you don't even need to do that. It had 3/8 of a tank of gas, so there's still a reasonable amount of gas. I've seen people with cars that are 5 years old, and it still ran okay once you put new gas in it and drove it along, because it did start right up. Now, if it didn't start, then you're going to have problems, but you're started up. Jonathan, 96, says, should I buy a 24-year-old Ford Explorer? Found a dealer selling a 99 Explorer with 88,900 miles for $6,800. If it's sound, should I buy it for long-term reliability? I wouldn't. 99, they weren't made all that well. They said it's 88,000 miles. Who knows if it's real on a car that old. $6,800 for that old thing. I wouldn't buy it. I would not buy it. It's too old. Those things had transmission problems. A lot of times the engines wore out on them. And I'd be leery that that's the real mileage. People fake mileage all the time. I see it all the time. 24-year-old car with only 88,000 miles on it. Makes you wonder, okay, what's the story here? Plus, it's 24 years old. All the rubber stuff is going to rot and start leaking. You might think, oh, the rubber parts are cheap. Okay, the rear main seal of the engine's made out of rubber. It starts leaking, you got to pull the transmission off the car to replace that stupid seal, which costs an awful lot of money. And you're going to find all that crap is going to go bad being that old and being a Ford. Bethany said, my car has odd electrical gremlins. I got a 2004 Caravan with 220,000 miles. Sometimes it has no blower motor, power window, radio, headlights, no wipers, horn works, sometimes not. Sometimes the battery drains. I started checking fuses, they were okay. Sometimes I hear clicking from relays clicking. What could be going on? You got an 04 Caravan. Those are rolling piles of junk as they age, and you're having electrical problems, which is totally typical for those things. Now, if the car's never been wrecked, flooded, doesn't live up north where the salt eats up all the electronics. From my experience, it's a bad main computer. They go nuts, all kinds of glitchy things happen. But the problem with that is the computer has all those many wires coming out that run just about everything in the car. All it takes is a sensor on one of those end points of those wires to go bad, and it will screw the whole system up and go bananas. You can't just guess with a computer, because if you do and you got a short somewhere else, you put a new computer in, that little sensor that shorted out will end up ruining the new computer, because none of those things are fused. Computers use such a small amount of power that you can't have a fuse on those little wires that go to, say, like the crankshaft position sensor. It's on fuse. So if it gets a short, it can't pop a fuse. There is no fuse. So it will destroy the driver inside the computer. And then the computer will go wacky. You're in a pickle on that thing. I mean, if you want to take a wild guess, replace the computer. But like I just explained, you got a short anywhere in the electronic system, it'll fry the new computer too. That's the problem with those Dodges. As they age, their electronics are crap. They do have problems with computers. So I mean, it's a good educated guess. But as I just explained, it could be a heck of a lot worse. You could buy a new computer, put it in, and then maybe it'll work for a day or a month or a week, or maybe you'll put it in immediately. Whatever shortage shorts the new computer, it'll do the same stupid thing. Good luck on that, but hey, a 2004 Caravan with 220,000 miles is worth just about nothing. I would not put too much money into that crapper. The real Farb said, my Miata won't go into gear. I got a 2017 Mazda Miata with a manual tranny, 75,000 miles. It won't go into any gears when I start it, but if I shift my left foot more to the right, it'll go into gear smoothly. Once it's in gear, it'll work fine. You say you shift your foot. on the pedal. You probably need a clutch master cylinder, and while you're at it, you might as well replace the clutch master cylinder and the clutch slave cylinder. If your actual clutch is wearing out inside the transmission, it doesn't matter how you push on the clutch pedal. It's worn, it's worn. That makes no difference at all. And then you say after you get it going, it works fine. If your clutch is worn out, it's going to always be worn out. It's always going to be hard to get in the gear, right? In your case, you're saying you can push a little different on the clutch, so change the clutch master cylinder and the slave cylinder, bleed the air out. That should fix it. Now, if it didn't fix it, you would have to pull the transmission off and put a very expensive new clutch in. Since you say it depends how you push on the clutch pedal, the only thing that makes sense is that the master cylinder, which is what you're pushing on, isn't working right. So start there. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.